For more than 40 years, Averett University's athletics programs have competed in the USA South. Now we begin a new era as a member of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. We will continue to build on our traditions. We'll continue to develop our student athletes into tomorrow's leaders as catalysts for positive change. With 24 NCAA and club varsity sports, we'll bring championship aspirations, high academic success, and a focus on community service. We bring first-class facilities, and we will continue to build for the future. We'll renew old rivalries and create new ones in the ODAC. We'll do it as one team, one family, one Averett.
Hey everybody, I'm Thomas Heaney, and tonight we got a good one. Averett versus Ferrum, classic rivalry game. Big game for both teams here. Davin, got guys like Jordan Lewis, Jason Sellers, so it should be a good game.
It really should be. It's always, you add the rivalry factor to this matchup, and it's going to spice things up even more so.
Yeah, and another good crowd here at the Grant Center, in December, so should be a good game. Very excited for this one.
We are. We'll do a quick rundown of things here so far. First off, we will take a look at some of the history between these two teams. Of course, the Cougars are 38 and 35 all time against Ferrum, dating all the way back to 1985. Thomas, I was 3 years old.
Wow, jeez.
These two teams started playing, so taking me back to my little booty days there. So.
Yes, and Averett's looking to get a win. Loses of 3 straight. Last one was November 27th against Shenandoah.
And Ferrum has actually won the last 5 in a row in the series. They did edge out the Cougars 67-66 when the two teams played last season in non-conference play. And of course, Thomas, this will be the first Old Dominion ODAC matchup against these two teams. And Thomas, look at Coach Dave DeWino down here now in the black suit and the yellow hoodie. I wonder if he's kind of trying to throw a nod to Ferrum here.
Yes, looking very stylish, Coach Nino. And another player I want to point out here is Caleb Coleman. In the starting lineup here, averaging 5'3" in 22 minutes. So just a player to look out for this game. I feel like he could be a big part.
You're right about that, Thomas. He and Rajan Milton, of course, had 13 points against Virginia Wesleyan and against a Marlin squad that had been receiving votes in the national polls, the D3 Hoops polls. And really, it was a game where it was there for Averett to win. The Cougars could just not finish down the stretch. But he and Jason Sellers II. Jason Sellers II, another big player, big shooter, big inside guy for the Cougars. And, Thomas, my dad pointed out last week, the kid can shoot the long ball.
Yes, he can. He's got a good three-point shot. And like you said, with Virginia Wesleyan, Averett lost that game just by a point. So despite the fact that they lost their last 3 games, they've been competitive,
They have been, and they played some extremely tough competition. I mean, start here with Virginia Wesleyan. Then you had Christopher Newport. And that game really, 71-54, the scoreline did not really show how neck and neck those teams were for most of the game. And then, of course, you had the loss to Hampton Sydney, which is another tough ODAC program that always gives the Cougars a run for their money.
Yeah, exactly. And we're just under a minute here before tip-off, so let's get this show on the road. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead. We do not have official starting lineups right now, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the proposed starters. First, starting with the Panthers of Ferrum College. We're going to have number 0, Deshaun Hicks. Number 1, Marcus Neal. Number 14, Johnny Franklin. Number 15, Cam Harris. Number 25, Calvin Washington. And the Panthers are coached by Pat Corrigan in his first season, along with Garrett Dorfman and Dan Malloy. And now we're going to look at the starting 5 for your Averett University Cougars. First off, number 5, Jordan Lewis. Second off, number 12, Jason Sellers. Checking in the third spot, number 14, Jalen Roll. Number 22, Caleb Coleman. You were just talking about him a second ago, Tom. And of course, Danville Dan River product, number 33, Bryson McLaughlin, a kid that our operator Ethan Stevens definitely knows a thing or two about.
Good evening and welcome to Averett University.
Went to school around the same time. Of course, the Cougars are coached by David Duino. He is assisted by Brandon Baker and Keyshawn Lewis, along with student assistant coach Corey Baldwin. So,
Fans, last week the Averett community lost a member of its family.
and
recently retired
Tom's
executive vice president
definitely
and former
important
director
to
of
note
Charles
out here
passed away
as
at age
sports
71.
information director
At
Drew
this time,
Wilson
we
is
calls for a
giving
moment
him
of silence to remember
we're
Mr.
gonna
Harris. Thank you.
And of course, that moment for silence was for Charles Harris. And we're going to take another break for the national anthem sung by the Averett University Singers. Averett Sports Network, we just got through with the national anthem sung by the Averett University Singers, and we are now getting ready here for the official starting 5. And first we're going to start with the visiting Panthers. It's first spot is senior guard Deshaun Hicks. Junior guard from Charlotte, North Carolina, number 1, Marcus Neal. Then we've got freshman guard from Concord, North Carolina, Johnny Franklin. We have senior guard from Amelia, Virginia, Cam Harris. And we have junior forward out of Danville, North Carolina, Calvin Washington. And once again, head coach for Ferrum is Pat Corrigan. He is assisted by Garrett Dorfman and Dan Malloy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is the starting 5 for your Averett University Cougars. And Thomas, I was thinking about drawing that out a little bit, since we're a little ahead of ourselves.
I agree.
And so first off, we're going to have junior guard
A junior from Virginia Beach,
from Virginia Beach, Virginia, Lewis. Now we're going to have junior forward out of Pittsburgh, North Carolina, Jason Sellers. Next up is going to be senior guard out of Norfolk, Virginia, Jalen Royale. Now we're going to have sophomore guard, Charlotte, North Carolina, Caleb Coleman. And senior forward out of Danville, Virginia, Dan River High School, number 33, Bryson McLaughlin. He is assisted with Averett is coached by David Duino, assisted by Brandon Baker and Keyshawn Lewis. And student assistant coach Corey Baldwin. And Thomas, definitely Corey Baldwin's absence this year has been felt on the Averett court.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a huge part of last year's championship team. But Averett's been doing a good job at keeping going, and they're over 500 right now and looking to break even here 2-2 in the ODAC. So.
And really, early on, of course, they held Radford to its lowest point total up to that point in the season. Also did the same thing last week against Christopher Newport. And so, naturally, as always, David DeWino's squads are predicated on tough defense. We've seen that. The biggest problem for the Cougars is, can they shoot the ball? When you have a combination of both, they are a dangerous team.
Exactly, and this game's going to come down to defense like you mentioned.
It is, especially a game between two rivals. And, excuse me, it's Rajan Milton right now with the ball. It's number 5, Jordan Lewis. He kicks it out to number 22, Coleman. Coleman gets it out to Sellers the second. Sellers back on to Coleman. Coleman's going to put it up, no good. Roll's going to come down with the rebound, gets it out to Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis trying to set something out top of the key, goes out to McLaughlin. Off McLaughlin's hands, out for fair ball.
Despite the turnover there, offensive rebound, that's another huge part for this game. Can the Cougars control the offensive boards?
They really will need to, Thomas. You're right about that. And they seem to match up pretty well with Ferrum. Something that Averett necessarily hasn't had the luxury of the last couple of games. But Ferrum right now trying to make something out of its first possession as we see number 15, Harris, with the ball. He gives it off to number 1, Neal. Neal on top of the key, puts it up. Does not fall. McLaughlin with the defensive board.
Great rebound there by McLaughlin.
And I've been watching him do that since he was a freshman in high school.
Yep.
And he's really a great young man on top of a great rebounder. Coleman out to McLaughlin. McLaughlin back to Roll. Roll over to McLaughlin. McLaughlin trying to drive in. And that's going to be out to number 22, Coleman. Coleman with a nice little touch. And Averett with the first points, 2-0 lead.
Great start there by Averett. Offensive rebound, then a defensive rebound, then a bucket. Good start for Averett.
What you like to see is what David DeWino wants to see out of his squad. And there's going to be a put-up shot from Hicks. Does not fall. Lewis with the rebound. Gives it out to Roll. Roll with a nice juking move. Gets it out to Coleman. Coleman thinks about it 3, changes his mind. Gets it out to McLaughlin in the paint. Roll now. Roll fakes 3, drives inside, puts it up. Kisses the glass. It's 4-0 now. In favor of the Cougars.
Now let's see if Averett can get a stop here and continue to roll. Up 4-0. 2 good defensive possessions, 2 contested shots.
And that's what, as we mentioned, that's what the Cougars need to have. And Neal with the ball right now. Nice pass inside to number 15, Harris, who is going to draw the foul. Looks like it's number 22, Coleman.
Number 22, Neal Coleman. That's his first personal.
That is Coleman's first personal, team first.
Harris at the line for 2
And that's going to
shots.
send Harris to the line for a pair of shots. Harris, senior guard out of Amelia, Virginia. About 2.5 hours up the road from Danville. First shot in, 4-1. And we're going to see if Harris can knock down the back end, go dose for dose. Dose Potter dose, and he does.
Harris goes 2 for 2 there, and to touch on another thing, free throws will be a huge part of this game. Averett's kind of struggled in that aspect this season, so free throws a huge part of this game.
It really will be, especially, obviously coming down to the final seconds. And McLaughlin trying to drive in, and McLaughlin showing his motion for the big guy.
Off to a hot start, McLaughlin.
He is, and of course McLaughlin went to Tech for a year, played under football coach Justin Fuente, decided to come back to Danville, and really glad to have him the past couple of years. Shot goes up, does not fall. That's number 15, Harris. Lewis with the board. Lewis gets over to Coleman. Coleman with the tray, and he tickles the line.
Great start for Averett here as Ferrum's going to call a timeout. 9-2 to start here in the Grant Center.
And it's going to be key for Averett if they can get those shots to fall. And we are going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Inclusive, encompassing, inspiring. Averett University provides all you need for a future you deserve through learning that embraces all of your infinite potential. With flexible online and on-campus programs, like our newest programs in entrepreneurship and psychology, with more coming soon. With affordable tuition and 24/7 support, it all leads to you becoming a catalyst for positive change. Visit allaverett.com. Averett University. Are you all in?
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thomas, we got to give a shout out here to Ethan Stevens, doing a great job on the ones and twos on the mixer.
Yes, best production truck guy we got.
Really is. Great PA guy right here. We're glad to have him.
Averett here, 9-2 start in the Grant Center. What a great start for the Cougars. Let's see if we can continue to do this.
It really is, and it would be nice for Averett to be able to get a nice double-digit cushion here early on, give them a little bit of confidence, and allow that press-style defense to really start kicking in.
Yep, Lewis on the press there.
I was going to say, we're already starting to see it a little bit here. Hicks kicks it out to number 15, Harris. Harris does not fall. Sellers the second with the rebound. He's going to kick it out to Lewis. Lewis kicks it out to Coleman. Coleman does not find the iron. McLaughlin out to Lewis. Lewis looking for the three ball. Does not fall. Marcus Neal with the rebound.
Mentioned Sellers. Sellers is averaging 9 rebounds this season, almost in double digits.
There's not much that kid can't do.
Yep.
He's very tough. And number 1, Neal now with the ball going up against Lewis. Neal, nice move there. Nice footwork. Now he's showing some nice ball handling skills. Whoa. There's a little and one mixtape move. Number 15 into Harris. Harris with the bounce pass intended for Washington. Averett gets a hand on it, and a shout out to the fan for pushing the ball back.
Just 7 seconds here on the shot clock for Ferrum.
And here we go. Let's see what Ferrum does running down on the time here. 3 seconds now. He's got to get that shot off. Neal puts it up at the buzzer. Does not fall. And Averett once again coming down with the rebound. And Coleman, really nobody there to test him.
Yeah, like I talked about in the pregame, rebounding a huge part of this game. Averett's had been successful early.
Well, so much of I wrote an article back about 2 or 3 years ago, David Duino, and I don't know, he might be a little bit before your time, but I don't know if you remember a coach named Jimmy Valvano.
I don't, but I'll take your word for it.
Look him up because he and David Duino share a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
And ball kicked out to McLaughlin. McLaughlin out to Lewis. Lewis with the stop and move, showing his favorite convenience store. Roll into McLaughlin. McLaughlin, and pass falls into Ferrum's hands.
Second turnover of the night for Averett.
And that's going to be number 0, Hicks, going up. And he's going to get it to fall, so it's now 9-4. His first bucket in about 2 minutes as we are seeing a battle of defense here. And Ferrum almost coming up with the strip was Hicks. Roll puts up the tray ball, does not fall. Gets out to number 0 in Hicks. Hicks taking his time, doing like a point guard should. Setting things up. Back out to Hicks. Hicks trying to find a way through the Cougars defense. Finds a little light, shot is blocked. Looks like it was Sellers the second. So we're gonna have number 35, Miles Paulden, coming in. And number 11, Bryce Shaw, checking into the game. Bryce Shaw out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, Salem High School. And I tell you one thing, Thomas, when you get down there in that 757 area, you're really talking about some athletes.
Yes, for sure.
And Caleb Coleman over to Lewis.
Let's see if Averett can get a bucket here. It's kind of struggled since that timeout by Ferrum.
And that's, as we talked about earlier, that's going to be the thing that Averett will have to maintain. And Coleman.
What a shot.
I'll tell you one thing, sign that kid up because he just made some nice moves right there.
Yeah, that was an incredible shot there by Coleman.
It really was. And it's going to be, looks like Hicks now with the ball. Nice pass inside to Washington. And that was number 15, Harris, I believe, with the finish.
Yeah, Ferrum really needed that bucket there. Momentum was swinging towards Averett again, so just trying to even it out and, kind of make this a boxing match here.
And even though, and there's, Sellers on the bounce pass.
Yeah, we mentioned him in the pregame. He's a superstar.
Yep.
He's a workhorse favorite, too. He's averaging 33 minutes per game.
And I'll tell you one thing right there, he's put that one home. I was trying to think of a funny song reference, but I could not come up with one on top of my head.
We'll get one later.
We'll get it. They can't force it.
No.
And Hicks is going to kiss and roll that one in, 13-8, 13-21. Of course, we have to give a shout out to Ferrum Athletic Director Gary Holden, who I'm sure is watching this right now. We wish you were here, buddy. So Coleman gets it over to Paulden. Paulden over to number 11, Shaw. Shaw trying to edge. Shaw acts like he's going to drive in, puts it up in the paint. Does not fall. It looks like it was. Oh, and number 4, no, excuse me, Hicks.
What a great play there by the Panthers.
It really was. Hicks put it on the Ritz.
Just like that, it's a 3-point game. You know, Averett was just so close to make it in a 10-point game, but turn your head and, 13-10 now.
Yep. That's one thing that you got to love about basketball, how quick it can turn on its head.
Yes.
Basketball and volleyball, perhaps the only sports, and looks like we're going to
timeout.
have a timeout on the court, and we're going to take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network. 13-10, 12:36, first half.
Being a student athlete here has definitely pushed me to do things that I have not been able to do in the past. Because of my team, I have opened up more socially, and they have pushed me to be a better athlete and a better student, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for them.
And we are back here at the East Stewart Grant Center. In the words of Jay-Z, guess who's Bazak? That would be Davin Wilson and Thomas.
There you go. You said you were going to get that earlier.
I tell you one thing. You do this enough with me, you're going to find out I love throwing in pop references.
It just took you one commercial break.
That's it. It's been about a year since I've done this. I had to kind of get it back.
There you go.
And number 11, Bryce Shaw now. Let's see what Shaw can do. Shaw gets it over to number 10, Carter. Carter gets over to Lawrence. Lawrence, long 3 ball, does not fall. Washington with the rebound. The 6'6" junior forward out of Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Had some good jump on that rebound, too. Got way up for it.
He did, and that's going to lead to a Hicks bucket on the other end. It is now 13-12, 12:05 remaining in the first half. So number 5, Jordan Lewis. Now Jordan Lewis driving in, puts it up, and he gets it to fall.
Jordan Lewis will flex his muscles on that one over 3 Panther defenders.
And I tell you one thing, the kid has got some ups. He's got some muscle in those legs. And number 0, Deshaun Hicks gets it out to number 2, Jamar Butler. And that's going to be number 1, Marcus Neal now. Out to Butler. Butler does not get the tray ball to fall. And Ferrum is going to get hit with the foul.
We just mentioned how Washington was getting up. Just got a little bit too much up on that one.
Just a little bit too much sauce.
Yep.
And there's another hip-hop reference for us, another reference.
There you go. You're on fire.
Yeah. I remember editing that song for baseball a couple of years
nice.
ago, so I know you will appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Jordan Lewis kicks it out to Lawrence. Lawrence gets it out to number 11, Shaw. Shaw back to Lawrence. Lawrence trying to drive in. Shot swatted away. And it looks like Washington might have got a jammed finger there. And it's going to result in an Aiden Gamble bucket on the other end. But
Washington's down.
And I tell you one thing, with the exception of maybe hitting your shin on a trailer hitch, there are very few things that are as painful as getting your finger jammed by a basketball.
Very, very true. You see that a lot on the court.
We do it. I never will forget, I was dating a young lady one time, and her daughter was playing basketball. She came back in. She was crying. I broke my finger. I said, no, you just jammed it. She did not believe me at first, but eventually
Overtime.
Yes, we established it was a jam finger. And so Lawrence.
Saw McLaughlin go off the court there for, let's see if we get the number.
And so Ferrum with the rebound here, number 2, Jamar Butler.
Yep.
And Butler. And there's a long 3 ball. That was a Harlem Globetrotter 3.
Thought he was Steph Curry there for a second.
I thought he did too. And speaking of Seth, I saw a video of him just underhanding, hook shotting, long court shots and hit another net, hit like 5 of them in a row.
Yeah. If Averett can just get half of that today, they should be all right.
Should be in good shape. And fun fact here, actually Seth Curry and Del Curry, his father, the whole Curry family, actually related to former Averett football coach Cleve Adams,
yes,
who is now the current football coach at Ferrum.
Very fun fact there.
And Marcus Neal is going to kick it out to number 0, Hicks. Hicks trying to drive in. Hicks gets it out to number 3, Gamble. Gamble does not get the shot to fall. Carter Jr. out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, gets it over to Lewis. Lewis, a bounce pass into Sellers. Sellers puts it up. And he's going to get the foul, too. Ferrum not happy with it.
Sellers again showing off his muscles. Just really a superstar here in Danville for Averett.
He is, and not too far. Greensboro, North Carolina, about an hour.
Yep.
Down the road.
You know, we mentioned this earlier too, 33 minutes per game for this kid. So, makes the free throw there. He's just been a workhorse for the Cougars.
He has been. And really, he had a special game in Radford, and you could tell he was going to have a big season just from watching that one performance.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see what he does here from here on out. And so it's number 0, Hicks. And Hicks gets it over to number 15, Harris. Harris gets it out to number 3, Gamble. Gamble gets it back over to Neal. Neal does not get the shot to fall. Carter with the rebound. Long pass to Sellers. Sellers cannot track it down. Marcus Neal, or excuse me, it was number 3, Gamble now with the ball.
Carter Jr. playing some good defense there on that as well.
And Carter, he's one of those kids that just comes off the bench. He's a solid reserve guy. And there is a steal from the Cougars. Lawrence gets it over to Lewis.
Great
Lewis.
move.
And Lewis should have got an Oscar for that one because he fakes his defender straight out of his shoes.
He's a maestro down there in the paint. Really knows how to work the defense down there.
He really is. And nice motion right there. And speaking of nice motion, Neal does a nice job driving in there. He's going to do a nice job of drawing the foul, too, against Carter Jr. He will go to the line.
Yeah, the junior Neal has been pretty good here for the Ferrum Panthers, getting them back in this game, running the offense pretty well, passing well. Let's see if he can knock down these 2 free throws.
And that would make it a 4-point game if he could. Averett has extended its lead to 2 possessions. First shot, and he's going to give some props to the big guy there on that one.
Friendly rim on that one.
Yes, and I think he definitely had a little bit of help from the big guy there too, as that one kind of bounced around, unsure for a minute, but it falls in. 20-15 is your score. Here's the second shot. Gets it to fall, and it's now a 2-possession game. 8:53 on the clock. Times like this, I'm glad to be up here doing the broadcast and not doing the clock or the shot clock.
I've done it. Very stressful. Very stressful. Credit to those guys.
We mess up here, it doesn't really have an impact on the game.
Yep.
We mess up down there, it can mean everything. So Ferrum with the ball right now, trying to make something happen. Kicks it out to the wing. It's going to be number 2, Butler. Butler switches courts, gets it out to Washington. Washington with the turnaround jumper, gets it to fall. And that finger obviously no longer hurting Washington. Glad to see it as he hits a nice turnaround jumper to make it a 2-point game.
Yeah, the junior's been playing well again early. Washington and Neal kind of running the offense well.
And Lawrence gets up with the big tray. And Lawrence is another one of those guys that's going to come off the bench. He can not only dazzle and razzle and get you motivated with his play, but he is such a hype guy
Yes, yeah, and he's got a great three-point shot. You just mentioned Steph Curry. I see shades of him in that,
You really do, and especially with that one right there and that last one. And, of course, Ferrum coming down with the bucket on its end. It's now a 23-20 contest in favor of the Panthers. So Lewis.
Here he is again.
And this one hits the back iron. Washington with the board.
That's the shot you want, though. You want him to take that shot.
You do, and I'm sure whenever he gets the ball in and around the key like that, he has the green light to shoot.
Yes.
Of course, you see his head coach, Brandon Baker, down there, and such a great story with B-Bakes, as they call him. He stayed on the team. He had all sorts of injuries. Never really saw a lot of playing time because of those injuries, but he stuck with it and got himself a ring last year, got himself a couple of regular season conference championships.
Yeah, what a special year that was last year, and like you mentioned, he's not playing this game, but Corey Baldwin was just so great in that tournament.
He was, and Baldwin's just one of those guys that really, again, personality-wise, just. And Washington kicks it out to number 2, Butler, and that was going to go to the top of the key to Neal. Neal trying to drive in. Ooh, Neal with that nice move. And he's going to drain a shot. He looks over to the bench and says, where are my props?
Yeah, Neal and Washington really carrying the Panthers right here to a tie, 23-23 all.
That is it. And nice shot right there, too. And McLaughlin back in the game, can't get it fall. Washington with the board. 2
good shots, though, by the Cougars in the last 2 possessions. Just got to make it fall.
And, of course, Hicks right now with 8 points for Ferrum. Harris and Washington both with 4. Meanwhile, for the Cougars, it is Caleb Coleman with 7, Jason Sellers with 5, and Jordan Lewis with 4. So Roll gets it over to Lawrence. Lawrence back to Roll. Roll trying to drive in. Stolen by number 2, Butler, who makes a great defensive play right there. Quickly gets it to Neal. Neal puts it up front, ends it. Washington with the deep offensive board and the putback. And I believe that's Ferrum's first lead of the game.
First lead of the game, and we're mentioning Neal and Washington a lot, and if Neal doesn't get it to go, Washington's right there to follow it up.
And that was a really nice defensive putback, and a little bit too much grease on that. I think David DeWino is going to want a timeout.
It's a good timeout.
And we're going to take it with him here. Ferrum in front, 25-23, 6:10 left in the opening half.
University provides all you need for your future through learning that embraces all of your infinite potential. With flexible online and on-campus programs, affordable tuition, and over 50 majors and programs. Visit allaverett.com. Are you all in?
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more here to the Grant Center. And Thomas, great game here so far, 25-23 Ferrum.
Yeah, Averett, 9-2 start, looking like it was about to be a blowout. And, Neal and Washington have really showed up here for Ferrum. And now they have the lead with almost 6 minutes to go.
And Ferrum has done a great job, too, of countering Averett's momentum. And number 2, Butler. Butler does a nice job of going all around the world. Washington puts it up, going to draw the foul. So Butler, in the words of my favorite Digital Underground song, goes all around the world on that dribble.
Oh, you're on fire. 3 in a row.
And of course, that was a great one. It was, once again, it's almost before my time, so it's before yours.
Definitely before my time.
Dan Aykroyd movie called Nothing But Trouble. If you ever get a chance, check it out. Very funny.
Definitely will.
And so, anyway, back to the action here. Washington going to set up for his second free throw. 5:50 left in the first half. And does not fall. Coleman with the board.
2 big misses there by Washington.
It really was. And It's a chance to give the Panthers a 2-possession lead.
Averett with the chance to take the lead again here now.
Let's see what McLaughlin can do. McLaughlin over to Lewis. Thomas saw McLaughlin star on both the football field and the basketball court in his time at Dan River. Lewis puts up a jumper.
Tough shot.
Nothing but the net there.
Lewis fearless, shooting it right in the defender's face.
Very contested jumper. And a nice block shot there, and Rowland now with it. Going to try to get quickly back down transition. Does. And what were we talking about before the game? How quickly this game can change.
Exactly. You know, Washington's at the line there, you know, up by 2, making it a 4-point game. Misses both. Averett now 4 straight points since those 2 misses.
And once again, just riding that tough wave of defense. Number 2, Butler. Butler puts up a tray.
There you go, right back at him.
Right back. And would not expect anything less from these 2 sides. As rivals in just about every sport. I think probably the best rivalry does lie in baseball.
Yes.
Roll puts up, the shot does not fall. McLaughlin tries to reach. And he is going to get whistled for a over the back.
Very physical game down there, and you know, Devin, it just feels like a Averett Ferrum game. You know, it's just back and forth. You know, like I mentioned before, Ferrum wants to make this a boxing match, and you know, it's just been back and forth all game, really, ever since the 92 start by Averett.
It has been, and you know, Thomas, one thing I need to point out as well for Ferrum, of course, Ferrum does have a product of Halifax, Virginia, about 45 minutes east of here, and that is going to be number 1, Marcus Neal, putting up the layup, 30-27. Of course, Spraggins is out. We wish him a quick recovery, but he's another one I remember starting at Halifax, and comes from another Sterling basketball program.
Right.
And so Lewis now with the ball. Lewis trying to set something up. Baldwin back in the game. Lewis kicks it out to Roll. Roll out to Lawrence. Lawrence puts up the long ball, and he gets the ball.
Big 3 there by Lawrence. You know, big time player. Tie game now. 3:33 left.
It is. Trente each Trente. 30-30.
Yes, sir.
3.5 left in the first half. Long pass. Switches course over there to Butler. Butler driving in. Does not get the fall. Lawrence with the board.
Lawrence on both ends there. Hits the 3 and then gets the defensive stop.
And he's going to find Lewis. And of course, Lawrence there at the top of the key. Lewis is going to slow things down a little bit. He's going to try to drive it in. Let's see what he has. He's going to get it out to Lawrence. Lawrence back out to Lewis. And Lewis is going to put up the tray off the back rim.
Lawrence again.
And he is. You give him space, and he's going to get those boards. So Lewis back into Lawrence. Lawrence has the ball stripped away, and it is going to be Ferrum ball.
It was a good shot there by Averett, you know, with the 3. That's the shots you want. You know, Averett's made a couple really tough shots, but also missed a couple open ones. So kind of been in reverse a little bit. You look for Averett to make those open shots later in the game.
Yes, and they will definitely have to have it, but like you said, Thomas, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Michael Scott.
Yep. So it's going to be number 0 Hicks now. Hicks trying to set something up with time running down the first half. He's going to drive in a nice drive. Calls for a foul. Has a case, but will not get it. Roll a nice behind the back pass to Paulden.
Couple circus passes. Wow.
I tell you one thing, that almost looked like the X Games right there.
Yep. Spin move there by Coleman, too, on the defensive side, and then the pass. Pretty incredible circus passes right there.
Really was. Really was. And we got a foul. Didn't hear the whistle at first.
Not sure who this is on.
It's going to be a technical. It's going to be Aiden Gamble, the sophomore guard out of Greensboro.
Interesting there. I didn't really see anything.
Didn't see much either there, but
Averett will take it.
I was going to say, Averett will definitely take it. And you see Corrigan trying to get some explanation on it as well. That is another job I do not envy referees.
No. Not a very lovable job.
No, it's not. Even on your best of nights. Number 1, Marcus Neal. Neal trying to drive in. He does, and nice hands, feet. He makes the wheels on the bus go around. 33-32.
Under 2 minutes now here. Averett's up by 1.
So Paulden gets it over to number 11, Shaw. Shaw back out to Coleman. Coleman over to Roll. Roll driving in. Wisely kicks it back out to number 11, Shaw, who drives in, puts one up, does not get the fall. Paulden gets the offensive board, puts it back up, well contested.
Relentless down there. You know, like I talked about pregame, offensive board's a huge part of this game.
It really is going to be, and David DeWina is going to want a timeout on that one, and we are going to take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett up, 35-32.
Inclusive, encompassing, inspiring. Averett University provides all you need for a future you deserve through learning that embraces all of your infinite potential with flexible online and on-campus programs like our newest programs in entrepreneurship and psychology, with more coming soon, with affordable tuition and 24/7 support. It all leads to you becoming a catalyst for positive change. Visit allaverett.com. Averett University. Are you all in?
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Averett Sports Network, and Ethan Stevens saw what we did not see in that technical against number 3. Gamble called for a flop. And it's going to be number 1, Marcus Neal, gets it over to Hicks.
Good ball movement.
And you are right, Thomas. That is something Ferrum is very good at doing. And, of course, we might have jinxed him right there. So that's going to lead to a turnover.
Back-to-back turnovers there by both teams.
And when you're trying to end, it's going to be number 5, Tali Odin.
Under 1 minute here in the Grant Center. See if Averett can hold this lead.
So Neal to Washington. Washington gets it back across the court to Gamble. Gamble kicks it outside to number 0, Hicks. Hicks, a long three-pointer.
Wow. Interesting shot there, to say the least.
I think Hicks was a little optimistic on that one. As that was almost what I like to call a Harlem Globetrotter three-pointer. As you know, of course, the Globetrotters do have the three-point mark, or have the extended three-point mark.
Averett's going to slow it down here, 20 seconds.
I had this conversation the other day. These kids, they come from high school into college. Of course, no shot clock in high school.
Yep.
So they come into college, and that's going to be Paulden inside. Nice move, and Averett ferociously fighting for the rebound, doesn't get it. Number 1, Neal goes up, and the basket will count. I thought we had the buzzer there at first, but I guess that was the shot clock. Sounded like there was a buzzer, but Neal
Pretty sure there was a shot clock, yeah.
Interesting. It must have been, but either way, great job there by Neal, playing to the buzzer, playing to the whistle, and he's going to get a bucket to pull Ferrum within 1, 35-34. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, but when we come back, we will have the halftime show brought to you by Chick-fil-A here at the Grant Center. 35-34. Averett, see you in a few.
That was a little strange.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Eastover Grant Center. Like the song playing, we're not going nowhere.
Going nowhere. Just like this game. Good game on our hands.
And Thomas, as a journalism major, when I hear bad grammar in songs, that's how I know I'm getting old.
I get that, yep.
I don't know, it gets on my nerves a little bit. But anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick look here at some of the stats so far in the first half here on the Averett Halftime Show. First off, we're going to take a look at the leaders for Ferrum. As of right now, it's going to be Marcus Neal leading the way with 11 points. Deshaun Hicks with 8. Calvin Washington with 6. Washington with 6 overall rebounds. Hicks with 3. And right now, that battle is actually, we were talking about it, falling in Averett's favor, 18-13. And we're going to take a look at, here's some of the defensive stats. Washington with 3 steals for the Panthers. And now we're going to take a look here at the stats for your Averett University Cougars. Right now, Jim Lawrence and Caleb Coleman both with 7 points apiece. Jordan Lewis with 6, and Jason Sellers with 5 for the Cougars. And, you know, Thomas, we were talking about it there, 18-13 on the defense or on the rebounding end in favor of Averett.
Yep, and Averett has a lead, you know, slim lead, 1 point lead, but, you know, still a lead nonetheless. And, you know, I feel like Averett has definitely, dominated this game on the offensive boards, on the defensive boards. Devin, one of the things that I saw on that stat sheet was the bench points. You know, Averett, 11 bench points is huge in the first half. You know, Lawrence, you know, like you said, kind of like a microwave guy, comes in, you know, hits a couple of threes in the first half. If Averett can get that, if Averett can get those three-pointers to fall in the second half, they should be better off.
They will be, and, you know, that has often been the key so much this season. When the Cougars are successful shooting the ball, really that game against Radford, you look at the score differential and you think it's, you know, Radford just ran past Averett. Was not the case. It was another game where the score line did not match. How competitive that game was is Averett, just so young in the season, could not get those shots to fall.
Yes.
But other than that, played great defensive ball and did a great job rebounding.
Yeah.
I think Radford ended up out-rebounding something like 31-22 so a close margin there on the rebounding.
Yeah, and, you know, I'll go on record and say that, you know, I feel like the difference in the second half is going to be who can shoot the three ball better. You know, Averett 3 for 11, Ferrum 2 for 10. So pretty evenly matched. Not very good, but if Averett can get those threes to fall, they should be good.
They should be, and we will see what's going to play out here as the action kicks off. It's going to be number 1, Neal, I believe, right now with the ball. And he's going to get it out to number 0, Hicks. And Lewis with a big steal. Lewis looking to drive, finish on the other end. He does.
It's exactly what you want for Averett to start the second half. Let's see if they can build on it.
That was a big momentum booster right there, that scoop and steal. And it's a possession ball game now at 37-34. And so it's going to be number 1, Neal, now trying to make something happen. Neal trying to drive in, kicks it out to number 14, Franklin, and a long bomb there by number 0, Hicks.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, you know, Ferrum's ball movement is incredible, and they're showcasing it this game.
It really is, and, you know, you look here, you really do not have an incredibly old team. As it, let's see, you got 1, 2.
Oh, my goodness. What a shot there by Sellers, and 1.
And Sellers, we were talking about it earlier, I mean, the kid is just tough all around.
Yes.
He's going to make you earn everything, and he's going to go to the line here. But Ferrum only 3 or 4 seniors, so to not have played together any more than some of these guys have. And there's the three-point play, 40-37. They have an uncanny knowledge of where each other are on the court.
Yeah.
And do a great job of executing their sets.
100% agree.
And so number 0, Hicks, he's going to give it out to Washington. Washington goes up. Nice defensive play by Sellers. McLaughlin gets it over to Coleman. Coleman puts it up. Little tomahawk layup attempt, does not fall. Roll out to Coleman. Coleman with the tray ball, does not fall. Number 12, Sellers comes down. And Sellers
taking over this early second half, man. Wow. 2 offensive rebounds, an N1, a layup, and just like that, Averett's up by 5.
And all 5 points scored by Sellers. So definitely let's get the ball in the hands of Sellers more. So Hicks out to number 3. Gamble does not get the shot to fall, and it's going to go off of Lewis for a Ferrum ball. 42-37, 18-13 left in this contest. And I tell you, Thomas, you want a fun place to watch a game, of course, here at the Grand Center, but Ferrum's gym is fun as well. It's a little bit more compact. It's a little bit noisier. And Hicks with the 3.
Huge 3 there by Hicks.
And 5-point game is now 2 at 42-40. 18:02 remaining here. I went down, Thomas. Before coming back up here at the break, I gave Duino a compliment on his coat and jacket.
Of course.
Roll with the 3 ball. Does not get it to fall. And, of course, you see his son, Anthony, down there imitating the 3 motion. And now Anthony's kind of jawing with the referees here. You like to see it, father like son.
Not a huge fan of that call he was, but, Ferrum gets it,
Yep. I was going to say, I think he's probably a little partial towards Fox, wouldn't you say?
Just a little bit, I would say, yeah.
He needs that allowance.
Interesting there. Coleman took a fall on the ground.
Kind of wondering Hicks was not whistled for a charge there, but Neal, and that ball is going to go off of Neal's foot. And Averett will get the ball. 17-28, 42-40.
Yep, we talk about Ferrum's good ball movement there, but too much passing on that one as the ball got away.
They can't all be zingers, right?
Apparently not on that play.
And Lewis gets it out to McLaughlin. McLaughlin in the paint trying to drive. Kicks it back out to Lewis. And Lewis wisely stepping back, taking the time. Coleman. He's got 13 seconds on the clock. Coleman into McLaughlin. And McLaughlin is going to draw the foul.
Yeah, you mentioned Coleman. Coleman was tied with Lawrence for the most points at halftime with 7. So he was off to a quick start. And, Averett's going to need him, too, in the second half to continue on offense.
They will. And Coleman has been one of those. You didn't know much about him going into this year. Of course, I believe he's a transfer, isn't he?
I think you're right. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a sophomore. And he's really brought a lot of energy to this Cougars team.
And Lewis gets it. Speaking of Coleman now with the ball. Bounce pass into McLaughlin. McLaughlin back to Paulden. Paulden puts it up, tickles the twine.
Yep, great pass there, too, by McLaughlin.
Really was, and that was one thing a couple weeks ago in their win against Southern Virginia I was talking to Averett about. Just the ability they seem to know where each other are going to be, to execute their sets, to execute the routes. And Hicks with the long 3.
Great shot, Hicks. Hicks again with a great shot.
And he's been looking for that long 3 all game.
Yes, he has.
Hits it.
Yep.
So Milton now with the ball. Let's see what he can do. Or excuse me, Lewis. Lewis and McLaughlin, dangerously close to the paint. Or to the liner. They're rolling into Paulden. Paulden puts it up for the dime bucket. 46-43, 16-12.
Like you mentioned, this is a team coming off a championship. They got a lot of chemistry, and they know where each other are, and they have a lot of trust in each other as well.
They do, and I know that was one thing last year. Of course, doing this job, we try so hard to be objective and to try not to show favoritism.
Yep.
But when I saw those seconds tick down on Averett's win last year, I just couldn't help but to get excited.
It was an incredible moment, and this team's got a lot of fight, just like that team last year did.
It really does, and Washington puts it up. Looks like it's going out of bounds, but not. Shaw doing a nice job with the long bomb pass to Paulden. Paulden can't get it to fall.
Great block there by Washington.
It really was, and Washington just, and a great job by Lewis to draw the charge.
Yeah, Lewis is just a tough player, tough in all aspects on defense, offense, in the paint, taking tough shots. We've seen it this game, hitting a tough mid-range shot, hitting tough inside, and right there he puts his body on the line for Averett.
He does, and of course his brother Keyshawn did the exact same in his time here at Averett. McLaughlin gives it back to Roll. Roll trying to make something happen, puts up the J, and he gets it to hit. So Roll with the JJ, 48-33, 15-30 left to go in the game.
Averett building a little bit of a lead here. Let's see if they can build on this.
We have seen the Cougars get it up to 7 several times. And, oh, boy, look at that block. Roll. Trying to throw the ball back off of the Ferrum player to give Averett the ball back. McLaughlin there. Just a little confusion there. And great job there by both players to go up and get a laugh.
Davin, that is Averett basketball, at its finest right there. Great defensive play. A lot of hustle on that.
And I'm sure we will be talking quite a bit about y'all here come a couple of months.
Yep, of course, it's on my mind.
And that's going to be number 13, Tony, puts it up, 48-45. So McLaughlin trying to drive in. That ball is swatted away. Great job by Ferrum, but
let's see what they call here. It's going to say Averett ball. Interesting. I thought we might have a foul there, Davin.
It looked like it very well could have been. But you look at the fouls right now, you look at them in the first half. Been pretty even across the board. Ferrum had 6 fouls against them whistled in the first half. Meanwhile, Averett with 4.
You mentioned that first half. There he is, Lawrence in the game. Tied with Coleman for the most points in the first half. Let's see if they can get him on the board here on a pick and pop.
And so Shaw over to Lawrence. Lawrence thought about it, gives it back out to Lewis. Lewis getting fancy with the handiwork. Paulden with a turnaround jumper. Does not fall. Washington might have been a little confused as to where he was at on the court as he saved a ball that was headed out for a Ferrum possession. Very easy to do though, especially when you got the wheels that Washington has. Gives it over to number 11, Shaw. Shaw over to Lawrence. Lawrence puts up the jumper, kind of lazy, but he gets it to fall.
Yep, that makes it 9 points now as he had a hot first half and comes off the bench here early in the second half and puts one on the board.
And it's now a 5-point game, 14:09. And Corrigan's going to want a timeout. We're going to take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett ahead, 50-45, 14:09 left to go in this one.
University provides all you need for your future through learning that embraces all of your infinite potential. With flexible online and on-campus programs, affordable tuition, and over 50 majors and programs. Visit allaverett.com. Are you all in?
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here. Thomas and Davin on the 1s and the 2s. And Thomas, normally I'm on the 1s and the 2s, so it's nice to have somebody here with me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. It's been a great game to watch so far.
It has been, and it's going to be number 1, Marcus Neal on the inbound. Gets it over to number 2, Butler. Gets it back out to Hicks. And it's going to be number 1, Neal. Does not get the 3 to fall. Defensive board goes to the Cougars. So Lewis trying to make something happen here. Gets it out to Lawrence. Lawrence thought about the 3. Lawrence, very smart ball player too. A lot of game IQ. Recognizes when he's got a shot, when he doesn't. So look at Paulden. Paulden going all around the world with the hands. Lawrence spots some opening.
I think they're going to get a foul on Ferrum here.
Oh. And I know Averett will take it, but it seems like that was a good defensive play right there from Ferrum. But
Averett will take the free throws for sure if Lawrence can knock these down.
Definitely will.
You know, we talked about it during the break. This game just has a feel that it's going to come down to the wire, come down to the last minute. You know, Averett's up right now by 6 after that free throw, so it doesn't have to be that way, but it just has that feel that it's going to come down to the last minute.
It does, and it wouldn't be any surprise at all given the tight contest these two teams have played.
Interesting play there. I think Lawrence thought he was getting 2 shots.
Well, I think is what it was. He had the second one right there. I think the referees were thinking it was a 3.
A little confusion here. Let's see if they can sort this out, Devin.
It looked like he was inside. It looks like he was in field goal range when he hit that.
Not sure I've ever seen that. You know, Lawrence went right for the ball, but nobody else moved. It's like he thought it was a 2, but everybody thought it was a 3.
And they're going to rule it was 2 shots.
I guess the shooter knows, you know, if he was on the line or not.
Yeah.
You know.
And so Ferrum with the inbound here, 13:33 on the clock. Neal gives it over to Hicks. And David Duino is wanting a review. Hicks gets it over to number 2, Butler. Butler puts up the trade, does not fall. Coleman with the rebound.
Ferrum saying he stepped out. I don't think so, though.
It doesn't look like it from up here. Lawrence with the long ball, gets it to go.
That's exactly what Averett wants. Lawrence wide open for 3. He's not going to miss too many of those, Davin.
He's not, and that's a 54-45 game. Biggest lead of the game for either one of these two teams. So, but Thomas, as you have mentioned, Ferrum has had a knack for coming back and stealing momentum back when it seems like Averett is getting it. And number 1, Marcus Neal.
Stops the momentum right there.
He does. Stops the bleeding a little bit with his nice layup. So 54-47, 12:34. So over to Lawrence. Lawrence puts up another 3. Oh, a little unlucky. Paulden, though, does a great job. And Thomas, one thing I got to comment on has nothing to do with the game, but you look at the coolness of photographer David Connor down there. He does not move as the play is coming towards him.
Looks like he's waving at us right now, actually.
He might be. Maybe he hears the shout-out somehow or another.
Yep.
Of course, he is a co-worker of mine over in South Boston with the competing paper, but I don't hold that against him. He's still a good guy.
He's a great guy.
So it's going to be number 1, Marcus Neal. So Marcus Neal trying to drive in. He's going to give it out to Washington. The lanky Washington puts up a shot, does not fall. Shaw with the defensive board, trying to make it happen. On the other end, he almost goes coast to coast on that one. Does not get the fall. Paulden puts it up. Washington with a beautiful block.
Tough rebounding there by Averett, but looks like they touched it last. Ferrum's going to get this ball back. But, you know, like we mentioned, the offensive boards for Averett have been huge. And we mentioned it in the pregame, you know, who can control the offensive boards. And Averett's done that so far, and they have a lead.
So far, so good. And that lead, of course, was up to the Cougars' biggest of the night at 9. A bucket comes back to make it a 7-point game. But let's see what's going to happen from here. It's going to be number 1, Neal. And Neal is going to draw the foul.
Haven't seen much of that from the Panthers tonight, driving to the rim and trying to draw the fouls. A lot of perimeter shots. You know, like I mentioned at halftime, the 3 is a big deal. But if you're Ferrum and you're down, you want to get to the paint and try to get those fouls.
And look at Lawrence over there doing a great job.
He's doing it all.
He is. Shooting threes, cleaning the baseline. What more could you want? And, oh, look at that.
He's locked in.
Perfect landed back on the wall.
So squeaking down there.
I was going to say, one of my favorite sounds.
Squeak, squeak.
Takes me back to the days of Capri Sun juice boxes
There
and
you
fruit
go.
roll-ups.
There you go. See, I'm not too young for that.
And so we are about to resume play here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I got to laughing at my own joke there. Not very humble of me. I apologize.
I thought it was funny.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. My dad would be very mad for laughing at my own joke.
I would laugh at it, too, if I said that one.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
2 big free throws here for Ferrum.
If he calls in to complain, I will tell him. I will get you to tell him that.
All right. I will.
So Neal's first shot does not fall. We're going to have it's going to be Sellers and Roll coming into the game for the Cougars.
And you say Sellers coming into the game for the Cougars. That is a great sign if you're an Averett fan or if you're on the Averett basketball team.
It is, because you like to have your big man in there.
Yeah, he's had his finger on this game.
And Coleman comes down with the ball, gives it over to Lewis. And Lewis gets it over to Lawrence. So Lawrence back over to Lewis. Lewis a bounce pass in to Sellers, the second. Shot blocked. And off of Ferrum, Averett ball.
You know, Ferrum's going to want to try to do that. Sellers has really been all over this game, but if they can try to contain him, they have a shot at coming back.
And Thomas, once again, I got to give a shout out to David Connor down there. And we'll get back to Connor's shout out here in a second. Lawrence, a nice fake, trying to drive in, puts it up, does not get the fall, draws the foul. Basket will not count, but you see, in my line of work, you see so many people that sit on the baseline. They don't want to do anything to help corral the ball in, to give it back to the officials, but you see David Connor trying to get the hand up there to stop it.
All-around guy.
I mean, he really is.
And I'm sure he got a great shot on that foul as well.
Uh-huh. And Lawrence puts up the first shot, gets it to fall. Here comes the second. Gets that one to fall. And the lead is back to 9. And, of course, fun fact, last little focus on Connor here. He normally does not wear shoes. He's got the sandals on tonight.
Didn't know that.
He has run decathlons and done Ironmans in bare feet before. So.
Very interesting.
Number 5, Lewis.
Averett has a chance here to make it their largest lead of the game. You know, they got it up to 9 earlier. It's 9 now. Let's see if Averett can finally push this into double digits.
Roll over to Coleman. Let's see if Coleman does it.
There you go.
He does. And Thomas, you were the lucky charm there. 12 points.
I get lucky sometimes.
59-47. So we've got a timeout on the floor. We're going to take it with them. 59-47. Averett. 10:46 left in the game.
Being a student athlete here has definitely pushed me to do things that I have not been able to do in the past. Because of my team, I have opened up more socially, and they have pushed me to be a better athlete and a better student, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Grand Center. 59-47 is your score. Cougars on a bit of a run, trying to put this thing away.
If you're Ferrum here, look for Neal to get a three-pointer up, you know. Largest lead of the game. They're going to need some threes. He's one of their better shooters.
Neal inside, gets it over to Hicks. Neal back over to Franklin. Franklin gets the ball inside to number 3, Gamble. Gets it in to Neal. Ball stripped away. And number 25, Washington.
He's been all over it.
He really is. And Washington is like a hangnail. He will not go away.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented ball player for Ferrum. Roll, puts up the triple. And look at the Baldwin dance down there.
Corey loves it.
He does, and Milton loving it too.
We talked about this at halftime, and I said I was on record. Threes will win this team the game.
And Franklin puts up a long ball, does not fall, but it's going to be number 3, Aiden Gamble, using his 6'1" frame to get the hoop. So Lewis over to Lawrence. Lawrence back over to Roll. And Roll gets back over to Sellers. Sellers over to Coleman. Coleman puts up the long ball and does not fall.
Well, we might get a friendly bounce there, but just couldn't get it to go.
Just couldn't get it. You're right about that, but not a bad idea. Number 1, Neal. And nice pass in there over to Washington. Washington finishes off the dime from Neal. 62-53. 9-point game with 9:08 left to go.
Washington will not let the Panthers go down easy.
He will not. And Ferrum refuses to go quietly into the good night. Roll, bounce pass into Sellers. Sellers to turn around JJ. Does not get it to fall. Number 0, Deshaun Hicks. Hicks a pass over to Washington. Washington puts it up, but Lawrence says, you're going to have to work for that one.
I think we're going to have a technical foul here.
Looks like it.
There's a whistle after the whistle, so let's see if we can sort this out.
Looks like Lawrence might have got a little bit too hype on that one. But after putting in that type of work, you should definitely get some holiday pay for it. As that was a heck of a block.
It was. And we are going to have a technical foul here on Averett.
And we were talking about Lawrence has so much passion when he plays.
Yeah.
Loves the game so much. And I think it's one of those things where just let his emotions get the better of him a little bit. And Hicks with the first free throw. And honestly, if I'm David Duino, I'm not saying much to him about that one.
Can't really. I mean, it's a tough play there, you know, when you're up that big. But, you know, like you said, I mean, he's a fiery player. He's got a lot of passion for the game, and it shows with his three-point shots, with his rebounds, with his defense. So, you know, you live with it if you're Averett.
You do, and so gets both shots to fall, 62-55. And so now we're going to have 2 foul shots, or is it a one-on-one situation? I can't see here.
Looks like McLaughlin's going to come back into the game for Averett here after this free throw.
So Washington, nimble touch for the big guy. 62-56. McLaughlin in for Lawrence.
Averett going a little bit bigger. Look for them to drive into the paint here with McLaughlin in the game now.
And Washington will get the second shot to fall. Of course, we have some youth league kids here tonight enjoying this basketball game. We're glad to have them along. And some might be future Averett Cougars. Lewis up for the basket, an aggressive drive, does not get it to fall.
Here we go, Dav. This is a big shot. Couldn't get it to fall.
Couldn't get it to fall. Rolled there with the rebound. Gets it over to Lewis. Lewis, a bounce pass over to Sellers. And that one is going to go off Washington, I believe.
You know, it's telling how this game's went. You know, if that 3 falls there for the Panthers, it's a 2-point game. You know, Averett built their lead up to 14. I mean, you know, it's just been back and forth, and we still have 8 minutes to go. So this really is anyone's game.
It is, and I never will forget back, I can't remember the exact year, but it was a game against William Peace, and Averett was trailing by near 18, and Sellers with a nice move inside the paint, puts it up. Going to draw the big foul there.
Yeah, you're going to have to double Sellers down there, you know, dominant player.
But really, Averett was trailing by 18 with 2.5 minutes. And
yeah.
Devontae Pennell, who was maybe 5'4", incredible point guard, though, just starts lighting up for three-point range and gets the Cougars back in the game. And, of course, Averett ended up losing to the Pacers, but still coming back from an 18-point deficit is pretty darn
Yeah,
impressive.
things can change very fast in a basketball game. And, you know, we got 8:02 up here right now, and, you know, anything can happen.
It really can. And Sellers puts up the second shot. Washington.
No surprise there. Washington all over that one.
And he's going to give the ball out to Hicks. Hicks back to Neal. So Neal gets it over to number 3, Gamble. Gamble back to Neal. So Neal driving in, puts it up,
What
gets
a
it to
shot.
go.
Wow. And just like that, Davin, it's a 3-point game now.
One possession ball game. And let's see if David Duino's got a timeout up his sleeve here.
Looks like they're going to ride it out here.
And may not be a bad idea. McLaughlin over to Lewis. Lewis inside to Sellers. And Sellers is going to get fouled on the play. I believe that is Washington.
Sellers looking for some redemption here at the line after missing his last 2 free throws.
His first personal, team 7. Jason Sellers at the line for the Cougars.
Such a great game day staff over here. Make it a very enjoyable experience. So Sellers puts up his first free throw attempt, gets it to fall, 4-point game.
Good shot there by Sellers. You know, like I said, coming back after those 2 missed free throws.
So here comes number Dos.
Yeah, he wanted those free throws, Davin.
He did. He goes Dos Equis. It's a 64-59 game. 7-18. And it's going to be number 0, Hicks. Hicks a long pass to the other side over to Neal. Neal driving in. He's going to put up, and he gets it to fall.
Neal is just putting on a clinic down there in the paint.
I tell you one thing, that was a thing of beauty.
Oh.
That was a very, very scrappy layup. It's a roll. Roll gets it over to Sellers.
See if they double Sellers down here. Yep.
Yep, they are. And Sellers says, I don't care. And it looks like Averett is going to be, trying to see, there is a foul whistle.
A little confusion here.
Sellers basket counts in the academy. Averett foul on number 33, Bryson McLaughlin.
So the basket is going to count. There is a foul called against McLaughlin, his second personal. Must have been after the play. Number 14, Franklin on the inbound, gets it over to Hicks.
About 6:30 left to play here.
Hicks trying to make something happen here, set it up. Hicks gets it out to number 1, Neal. Neal with the long ball. Does not fall. Washington tips it. Goes into the hands of Roll. Roll over to Lewis.
Credit Sellers there. You know, Sellers versus Washington, that's the matchup that everybody's looking at. Sellers got that one. That's a huge off defensive rebound right there for Averett.
It really is. And let's see if Lewis can turn something around here. And Lewis, a nice move, but eventually stripped. And that's going to be number 3, Gamble, going down. Gamble with the layup. Off the steal.
Back
it's
and
now
forth.
A 3-point game, really like a slingshot, like a seesaw.
Just when you think Averett's going to take a big lead, you know, the Panthers fight right back.
And another big defensive steal there. Averett just has got to slow down and let the game come to it right now. That's going to be number 0, Hicks.
Yeah, look for Hicks or Neal to take a 3 here maybe. Tie this game.
And Sellers doing great. Looked like a walk there. Washington puts it up. Nice jumper. And again, Washington showing the nimbleness for the big guy.
Yeah, Washington showing a lot of heart here. You know, he was battling and scoring when it was about a 14-point lead earlier in the second half. And here he is again, 1-point game.
And Coleman's going to draw the foul there against number 1, Neal. Neal's second personal, team 8th. So we're getting closer and closer to that magical bonus.
Yeah, I just want to say it's been a great game here, Devin. You know, just back and forth, and you know, some really spectacular plays by both teams, especially in the paint. You know, circus shots, you know, backwards passes. It's been incredible.
It has been. It's been a fun one, and we still have 4 minutes and 57 seconds remaining. And Coleman going to take the second shot, gets it to fall. And we're going to give the Cougars a possession lead, 67-65.
It's going to be Bryce Shaw checking in for Averett for Coleman.
And so it's going to be number 1, Neal. Neal being guarded by Lewis. Averett rotating in that zone defense, and Neal, great job right there. And it's now a 67-all ball game.
You really can't play much better defense than what Lewis did right there. It's just a tough shot.
McLaughlin a spin to the basket. Does not get the fall, but Sellers, a big one there. And Coach David DeWino is going to take a full timeout. We're going to take it with him here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett holding on to a 69-67 lead. 4:26 remaining.
Inclusive, encompassing, inspiring. Averett University provides all you need for a future you deserve through learning that embraces all of your infinite potential. With flexible online and on-campus programs, like our newest programs in entrepreneurship and psychology, with more coming soon. With affordable tuition and 24/7 support, it all leads to you becoming a catalyst for positive change. Visit allaverett.com. Averett University. Are you all in?
I think we probably sit down for. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Averett Sports Network. 69-67 is your score, and Thomas and I, for the first time all night, are sitting down.
It's hard to sit down in a game like this, but
it is. Of course, your legs are a little bit younger than mine, and that's going to be number 14, Franklin, put up the long ball.
Tough rebound by Sellers.
Really did. And Roll did a great job of going up for that one. Just kind of mistimed it a little bit.
Yeah, Averett's going to lean on Sellers down there to grab those defensive rebounds.
It's going to rely on and that was a pass that just kind of bounces off of Roll's fingertips, or excuse me, Sellers.
Yeah, Lewis apologizes for that one to Sellers. A little bit too quick there.
And, that's what I love about this Averett team is that they just quick to forgive each other. Hey, my bad. And they move on to the next play. So Franklin over to Neal. Neal gets it over to Hicks. Hicks back to Franklin. Franklin to Neal. Quick passing. And Lewis is going to knock that ball out of bounds. And Washington saying my bust on that. And it's been a physical game, but it's been a very clean game. Either one of these two teams taking unnecessary shots at each other. Playing good, hard basketball.
Good defense there by McLaughlin.
And that is definitely McLaughlin's bread and butter. He's never going to be a guy, and there's a three ball. Does not fall. Sellers with the board. McLaughlin's never going to be a guy that's going to hit you up for 25 points a game, but he can't hit you up for 25 rebounds.
No, and he embodies what Averett basketball is. Tough defense, very gritty player, a lot of heart.
That's very well said and very true. And we're going to have Lewis now. Lewis with the ball over to Sellers. Sellers gets it over. And that is going to be Roll. Roll puts it up.
We need a timeout here.
30-second timeout.
So 30-second timeout, Averett. We are actually going to stay with you for this one. Only 2:56 left. We get the thumbs up from Ethan Stevens.
Big possession here for Ferrum. Down 4, 3 minutes to go. I said it at halftime, but, Ferrum has really struggled to get those threes up and down, and ultimately right now it's costing them. But, if they can find a way to get open threes, look to lean on guys like Hicks and Neal, and try to get those threes up, that would be a huge, huge help for the Panthers.
It would be, and right now Ferrum is 5-20 from three-point range. Meanwhile, Averett's 6-17, so neither side's really that effective from three-point range. You look at the difference. Ferrum right now 23 of 52 from the field, 44.2%. Averett 25 of 48 for 52%. And there again, you've been saying it, Thomas, rebounds. Averett 28 to 12 right now.
Yeah.
Including a 21-15 edge on the defensive end.
But that's going to be a huge part down the stretch here. And, you know, it's fitting. Averett 6 threes in the game this, tonight, and Ferrum 5 threes in the difference, 4 points. So it's that close for Ferrum. If they can get those threes to fall, they got a shot.
And speaking of close, two teams have played to 4 ties apiece, played to 4 lead changes apiece. So really, it's featured more drama than a 5-hour soap opera.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way of putting it.
And it's going to be number 14, Johnny Franklin. You've got to love that name right there, Johnny Franklin. Sounds like a blues singer.
Yeah, flows well.
So gets over to Neal. Almost a turnover there. Neal, a nice pass, tip by McLaughlin. And look at the referee with the cool calm hands down there.
Yeah, pretty solid. I'm sure he's played before.
I would hope so.
McLaughlin there getting his hands on it. He always is around the ball.
He has a nice floating pass there by number 3, Gamble. Or to Gamble. So number 1, Neal, back to Gamble. Gamble gets it over to Franklin. Franklin puts it up, gets it to fall. 71-69, 2:27.
Much needed bucket there for the Panthers.
And so we've got Lewis now. Let's see what he's going to do. Lewis to McLaughlin. McLaughlin back over to Lewis. Lewis gets it over to Coleman. Coleman puts a shot up. Will not get it to fall. Deep from the board, goes to Washington. Gets it over to Hicks. So Hicks kicks it out to Franklin. Franklin with the tray.
And just like that, now we're under 2 minutes, and Ferrum has a lead, Davin.
72-71. So Lewis trying to change that.
Panthers defense tightened it up here.
Over to McLaughlin. McLaughlin to Coleman. Coleman to Sellers. Gets it over to Shaw. Shaw back over to McLaughlin. McLaughlin driving in. And he's going to kiss and roll.
Tough bucket there from McLaughlin, the glue of this team.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have a full timeout on the court. We are going to take it with them this time. Don't go anywhere. Averett 73-72 in a seesaw, tipsy-turvy game. 1:30 left. We'll be right back.
Being a student athlete here has definitely pushed me to do things that I have not been able to do in the past. Because of my team, I have opened up more socially, and they have pushed me to be a better athlete and a better student. And I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the action. Here with my buddy Thomas, I'm Davin. And it's been a pleasure to bring you this one. Hopefully fans of both sides have enjoyed the play-by-play and color commentary from tonight's game. I know we worked hard on these zingers.
Oh, yes. This has been a very typical Averett Ferrum game, just back and forth.
It has. And number 14, Franklin. Franklin over to Hicks. Hicks back over to Neal. Neal bounce pass gets over to Washington. Washington does not get it. McLaughlin with a huge board.
A little surprised there that Neal didn't take that three. It looked a little bit open.
He did. I think right now just trying to play for that lead. Coleman over to McLaughlin. McLaughlin almost having the ball stripped. Maintains possession over to Lewis. Shot clock down to single digits at 6. So Lewis puts up the jumper, in and out. Washington with the defensive board. Marcus Neal. Excuse me, it's actually Hicks. Ferrum's going to take a timeout. We're going to stay with you.
5-second difference on the shot clock, and what a huge rebound there by Washington. It looked like there for a second Averett was going to get that board, and we were talking about it on the break. The rebounds right now, 10 in favor of Averett. So it's going to be interesting to see here what the Panthers do with the 5-second difference. They could go quick. They could wait. They don't necessarily need a 3, you know.
I think right now you just play for that lead. You play for the safe bucket. We will see what Corrigan and Dorfman and Malloy decide to do. Of course, we're going to take a look here at some of the individual stats. Right now, Hicks and Neal with 19 points apiece. Washington with 16.
Yeah, those big 3, you know, Ferrum has a couple of good options there with those 3. It'll be interesting to see where the play is drawn up and who gets that shot. Could go either way.
It will, and Washington also with 13 rebounds, so he's already at the double-double for tonight. So Averett is being led so far by Sellers, who has 16. Lawrence has 15. And then Roll and Coleman each with 11 apiece.
Yeah, Ferrum, like I said, you know, they got that big 3 all over 16 points, and this is a tough play here, you know. My guess is they'll probably try to draw something up for Washington, but like I said, they could go either way.
It really could, and right now, looking at the charts, it looks like Averett is doing a little bit better when it's shooting from the right side of the arc from three-point range, and Ferrum looking to be a little more efficient from the left side. Just looking at the shot diagram.
Big Gamble inbounding here.
Neal back to Gamble. Gamble over to Neal. 20 seconds. Ferrum's going to play the clock down. Neal, no need for Averett to foul here. And there's a big steal. And Lewis over to Coleman. Coleman puts it up, and that might be the game. 10.4 seconds. Franklin, a desperation 3, does not fall.
What a turn of events there, you know. Not sure Franklin had to force that 3. They had plenty of time. But again, Averett's defense just shows up.
It really did right there. And Corrigan wants a foul on that. We have 5.8 seconds. We're just going to stay with you.
Wow.
Turn you away. I know. It's been a fun one.
Yeah, Averett's got to make sure they get this ball in, and I'll be curious to see who they send to the free throw line, but, you know, like we talked about, you know, this team is built on defense and ultimately get the stop there and the transition bucket, so big turn of events.
Big turn of events, and we'll just see what transpires from this point on. We were talking about it at the beginning of the game. Averett with a 67-66 win over Ferrum last year. So one point difference last year. Let's take a look here. Averett's wins so far this season. Trying to find my notes. Averett's win at Methodist came by 25. Beat Greensboro by a narrow 4. Edged out Southern Virginia by 2. Beat William Peace by 32. And then beat Shenandoah by 1. So every single one of Averett's wins this year has been tight.
Yeah, and like we mentioned in the pregame, you know, they've fallen 3 straight. They just lost by 1 to a really good team last game, so this is a game you have to have if you're Averett. Got to inbound this ball, got to hit your free throws, and come out of here with a win.
And it will also put Averett in a tie with Ferrum in the ODAC, with each squad checking in at 2-2.
Yeah, Ferrum's going to be very aggressive here, try to get a steal.
I would say that is what they're going to be going for above all else right now. And there's a missed throw. Looked like there might have been a foul.
No call, and it's going to be the Panthers' ball.
Looks like there might have been some contact, but there again, it looks like Roll could have just maybe stumbled over his own feet coming off the pit, coming off the break.
Very, very interesting play there. You know, I thought there was going to be a foul, but I guess he just stumbled. Right?
And I don't know, I think Corrigan definitely feels maybe a little vindication after he feels like Ferrum should have gotten the call the last time out.
Yeah, and Corrigan now in the same position as last time. You know, he's going to have to draw up a good play here. This time, though, it's going to have to be a three-pointer. Don't really see Ferrum looking for the 2. Look for the 3 here.
And, of course, Sports Information Director Drew Wilson playing a little Dan Vegas. Thomas, I don't know if you know this or not, but the people who wrote this song are from Danville.
Didn't know that. Interesting.
Drew and I went to high school with them.
It's pretty cool.
A little random piece of information you didn't ask for.
I'll definitely leave here a lot more smarter than what I came here for. You
Well,
give me a lot of good fun facts.
I'm hoping maybe I need the more you know star.
Yes.
But trying to use it to pump up this Danville crowd right now.
Yep. And if you're looking for a three, Hicks is leading the Panthers tonight with 3 threes, so maybe look for Hicks. They could also go with Neal, 1 for 5 tonight. Franklin's 1 for 5, so, guys have been shooting the ball. But Hicks has made the most threes, so maybe look for him.
So let's see. They're going to get it where they seem to like it. As we said a second ago, the shot diagram favoring the Panthers on the left side of the arc. So we'll see what happens here. Ferrum's going to have a tough crowd in his ear with the Youth League basketball players over there. And so it's going to be number 1. Neal putting it up at the buzzer, does not fall. Sellers comes down with the board, and a nice act of sportsmanship there from Averett and Ferrum as Lewis helps up Neal. Neal says, "Thank you, sir." That's what you love to see in a tight game between two rivals.
And very fitting there, that Sellers gets that rebound. He was a huge part in this game. Averett won the rebound battle like we talked about, won the 3 battle ultimately, and won the game.
And it was quite the game it was. We are going to take a quick break. We're going to see if we get some stats up here. Actually, you know what, Thomas? I think we are going to go ahead and close out the broadcast tonight.
Sounds good.
So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Thomas and myself, thank you so much for joining us. If this is the last you hear from us, happy holidays, happy New Year, and we hope you will join us again here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett's next contest coming on Wednesday as they take on number 22, Mary Washington.
That should be a great game.
Really great game at 6 p.m. Once again, actually, we are going to give you a quick rundown of the leaders. We can at least leave you on that note.
Got to give them something here.
Got to give them something. Got to give them a no-beat stunt to. So we're going to look here at Ferrum. Hicks, as we mentioned earlier, Hicks and Neal with 19 points apiece. Washington with 16 points, 13 rebounds for the double-double. Also, Hicks with 5 rebounds, while Washington contributes 9 on the defensive end. So Washington also with 4 steals for the Panthers, Hicks with 6 assists. So now we're going to move it over to Averett. So Sellers leads Averett with 16 points. Lawrence checks in next with 15. Roll comes in at 11. Coleman with 13. Check to see if we got any double-doubles for the Cougars. We do not. Sellers leads the way with 8 rebounds, including that key defensive board at the end.
Yep.
6. And it's Sellers and Coleman with 2 blocks apiece. And we're also going to take a look here. Lewis with a team-high 4 assists for the Cougars. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap us up here. Once again, Averett comes out on top over its rival Ferrum College, 75-72. Till next time, hope you have a great one.